UPS or USPS. You can use any. You could pick who you want. I just
Mm,
use UPS. The
got you.
Oh, he says I'll come pick it up tomorrow.
Oh, even better.
Oh, all right. So I'll do the one. I'm not going down to 125. Says he'll come pick it up. Let's see where he lives. Where do you live? And then I guess it's been a while. How you been, man? You said you're running ragged?
Oh my God. Just wrapped up another semester, started a new semester, and I don't know if you recall, but when you do winter or summer, you're condensing a
Oh, I know.
12-week course into 3 weeks, and it's just insane. It's insane. So,
I think I told
but
myself every time, Atticus, that
uh,
I'm not doing that again.
yeah,
I think I said that every time, but
I'm
but
doing
still
it
signed up
presently.
every time.
Yeah, because we're ambitious. We want to get through it. We want to be done, right?
It's
We want to move
convenient.
on to the next chapter. And it's convenient. And, the payoff is 3 weeks, you're done.
Done.
That's the payoff, right? So there's some pros and cons to it. And I think by and large, the pros outweigh the cons. Otherwise, we would not continue to do it each time. But, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I said it wasn't. So.
Yep.
But I'm doing good,
Uh,
doing really well. I got all A's again, um,
nice.
which is nice. And yeah, Rutgers Law, here I come in September.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
How about you? Everything good?
Man, I'm good. I picked up my daughter yesterday from school. She's back home for the holidays. Went and saw my mom in Doylestown on the way home.
Okay.
Um, spent way too much money on the kids for Christmas. God damn it.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to, but then I thought I was. A went bolt was something else for one of them, and then I start adding it up in my head, and I thought I was way off. So then I had to compensate. Right in my brain, it's got to be an equal amount of money spent on the
Mm,
kids, right?
hmm
And then I added it all. I'm like, geez, I'm not doing this again. I'll do it again. Don't mind.
mm,
It's the same thing. Why do I sign up for a 3 week, you know,
mm,
intensified class? Why
hmm
do I continuously overspend on my kids? Because that's what I do.
mm.
But we could have taken a vacation.
Wow.
You know what
That,
I mean?
yeah, yeah. That's some serious spending.
I could have bought tickets to go
International
see
or
them play.
local?
I could have bought first round playoff tickets. That would have been a little egregious, but I could have done that. You know what I
Hey, they'll
mean?
be happy. Not only will they be happy, you will be too.
I
So
would have been happier going to the first round playoff game.
you would have, but you're going to be happy with this.
I could have
So
gone
what
up
we
to Happy
got? I
Valley
got
today to see Penn State play. Were they playing Boise State? I think they're playing Boise
I
State.
don't
No,
know.
Boise State's got the bye.
Just a heads up, my daughter has a basketball game at 10:30, a half hour away.
Let's get
So I
into it
don't
then.
have a whole lot of time. All right.
Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, man. Where you want to start?
Football.
AFC, NFC.
Let's go AFC because I
Okay.
think add a little lore. AFC. Who do you really like right now? Who are your top three?
Top three.
Top
I'm
three
gonna
right now.
go. I'm gonna go Baltimore. I'm gonna go. It's really a toss up between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. However, I'm going to give the edge to Baltimore only because there's more cohesion. There's absolutely Kansas City because you got to play two teams when you play. No, let me not say that. There's absolutely Kansas City. Their offense hasn't been clicking like you're used to them clicking, and Patrick Mahomes is a little bit banged up, but their defense has been out of this world this year. And of course, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the Bills. He goes down, so do the Bills, and I don't know that they have enough weaponry as a team. They're giving up a lot of points defensively.
Yeah.
Some weeks they play well, some weeks they don't. But Josh Allen is the key to Buffalo. He stays healthy. I think they're the favorites. Um, I don't think that Lady Luck is going to continue to show up for KC the way it's been. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've won the games, but block field goal to end the game. You know what I mean? A phantom call that gets you in the field goal range. There's been a lot of things. And the Ravens, I just can't figure out how they will look like an absolute juggernaut one week, and then the next week they look kind of pedestrian. So I can't figure them out.
You know what's interesting is you
Sure.
you you mentioned two teams on there that play each other this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get to them in a minute. I'm not betting against Kansas City until they prove me otherwise. I don't care that they squeak games out. I don't care if it
Mm-hmm.
appears like they got the rest in their pocket. I don't care that Mahomes got a high ankle sprain. Carson Wentz is going to need to come save the day and take them to the promised land. That would be ironic, though. By the way, right? Like
That would be.
if Mahomes was actually injured to the point he couldn't play and he was out for the rest of the season, I mean, it's a really weird flex for the NFL writers to have Carson Wentz come in and save the day, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to happen.
Makes for a great story.
It would be a phenomenal story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not betting against them, right? And I think that the one thing we have to mention when we say Kansas City is they have the defense, right? They have the defense. Um, Buffalo does not have the defense,
Mm-hmm.
right? They've put up 90 something points in the last 2 weeks, and they lost one of those games.
Let me
You know
ask
what
you a
I mean?
question. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
In all out seriousness, in your time as a football enthusiast, which probably equals mine, have you
yeah.
ever seen a quarterback perform as admirably as Josh Allen did to throw three, rush for three in a losing effort? You ever seen it?
It's crazy.
I can't
No,
understand it.
no, it's
I can't
crazy.
understand it. Hmm.
You know, not a losing effort. I mean, Josh Allen is without a doubt. Of course, there's a piece of me that's like, whatever, why is everybody forgetting to talk about Saquon when they're saying Josh and Lamar, right? It's a
With,
quarterback
with
league.
regards to MVP,
Yeah.
I've been saying the three of them all
Well,
year.
Josh is pulled himself away, right, as the front
Hmm.
runner, without a doubt.
Hmm.
Lamar, you can't discount it, right? Like 35 and 3.
He's incredible,
35
man.
touchdowns and 3 interceptions
Hmm.
is ridiculous.
Hmm.
Ridiculous. And I was like, this dude can't play quarterback. I was that guy.
I was that guy too until I watched him play quarterback.
So I'm
You know
like,
what it is?
damn.
When you do it as consistently as he does it,
Yeah,
give that man his flowers,
yeah.
right?
And not just name Zay, you know? Can't just be
No.
Zay.
But I want
He's
to say one other thing real quick because you brought up Saquon.
yeah,
It is so difficult for it's almost insulting. It's almost like you gotta have an A and a B winner this year, right? One of them could be a QB, the other one has to be what Saquon has done. It has to be. He's about to break Eric Dickerson's record. He's gonna break it this year. Barring injury, he's gonna do it. And he's done it in a way where usually at year six of an NFL running back's career,
yeah.
they're on a decline. He is doing quite the opposite.
Yeah.
He's on an ascent.
Yeah.
And the ascent makes him look like, yo, this guy got 5 more years to play like this. Obviously, 5 more years to play like that at the running back position is unrealistic, but for him to do it in year 6 is noteworthy.
It's noteworthy. Um, it is a quarterback driven league. The problem is like Saquon is gonna need like if he goes for 180 against Washington, then the record's in play, right? If the Eagles beat Washington, they lock in NFC East. But the problem is they are striking distance for number one seed, right? You're in striking distance. So, do you sit him? Do you not sit him? He may
That's the
wind up,
question.
like, but if he goes for 180, I think you're all in for the rest of the season. Like, go get it. I think that's a team building moment. I think
Well,
the
what
team
would you
wants him to
do?
get it.
What would you do as the coach? I get it. The record would be great. Would you keep him out there, knowing how integral he's been to the season that you guys have had, and
Yes.
knowing he could pull a Derek Carr like 2 weeks ago and break his hand
Yep.
for no reason why are you in the game right now?
Not
Right?
only why is he in the game, why did he go airborne like that,
Why did he do that?
bro?
Like, what do you? And listen, Saquon can go airborne and make it look sexy, right?
Yeah.
But do you need to do that at
No.
this stage of the season? Because you're in striking distance of being the number one seed. If you're already going to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're the one or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Get your ticket stamped. You got your ticket stamped. Now you go. Get your body rested up. Get your stuff right. So that going in, you're not dealing with all. What would you do, Mike? You're the
I
coach.
do. I do what Sirianni does, right? Like I do what Sirianni does. I sit down. Do you want it? You
Hmm.
know. And I'm telling you right now, that team, that O line is like hell yeah.
Hmm.
Let's go get it for
Hmm.
them. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let the
Yeah.
team decide. You know,
Yeah.
do we what like let's go get it for them, right? Because that's who they are.
I probably would too, but there's a part of me that would be like, don't you fucking get hurt. I would listen, I would feel terrible and deserve to be fired probably if he got hurt and we didn't go all the way because of that decision. But
Yeah,
you got to be convicted, right?
yeah,
You got to be sure this is what we're going to do, understanding the risks. We've
yeah,
calculated it, we've measured it, and we're all in, right?
yeah.
It's probably what you got to do.
It's the
Hey,
only way
listen,
he wins the MVP
the
is if he
Patriots have
breaks it.
always done that,
If
right?
he,
The pay
well, yeah,
they didn't sit their starters. They plow straight forward all the way.
yeah, we're gonna beat everybody because that's what we do.
Right.
You know,
I think you kind of gotta, right?
you got to.
All things considered, you kind of gotta.
I don't like
Especially,
sitting, man. Sometimes, like I don't know. I'm weird like that though. I'm like, yeah, you need the rest, but if we get the bye, you get a whole extra week. I mean, we have the Giants to end the season, so he could break it in the first quarter legitimately.
mhm.
Then you
I'll
can
give you
sit him.
another nugget. I'm gonna give you another nugget. You just said it's a quarterback driven league. Last year, the league decided that we're not going to pay running backs the way that we need to pay them. He's made the argument with his play this year that no, y'all going to pay us. This is because this is what we do, right?
Yeah,
So that also is a reason that he might stand on Nick Sirianni and say what you want about Nick Sirianni, right? I don't think he's the best coach, but the guy's he broke your record for the most wins in the first 3 years coaching, right? Maybe in the
I
league, I don't
don't
know.
understand the Eagles right now. I don't. And as an Eagle fan, there's a piece of me that's still waiting for the shoe to drop, right?
Hmm.
Because the coach is an idiot. He's yelling at Jalen Carter on the sideline that I made up. Then you had all the bullshit. Brandon Graham going on a podcast, fucking
That was
spewing tea.
stupid.
That
That was
was stupid.
stupid.
You got the quarterback, you got wide receiver, being a wide receiver. Like it's not AJ Brown, it's the wide receiver. Let's be honest. They
Hmm.
they they do that shit. They are dysfunctional, but they've won 10 in a row. And not just 10 in a row. They went and and I don't care that Pickens was out, right? They beat the number one defense or one of the best defenses, right? Their whole defense was in there until TJ Watt turned his ankle in the fourth quarter, but game was over by then. Over.
Hmm.
You know, they handled them. And they had a 10-minute fucking drive to end the game. That's insane, dude. Insane. So yeah, you have to keep Sirianni because he's part
Yeah.
of it.
They,
They,
the fact remains the guy wins games.
he
Say what
wins
you want. And
games.
he's done it with different coordinators each year. Say what you want about the guy. Feel how you want to feel about him. I tell you what, some of that sideshow shit, it needs to stop. That I will say he needs to clean that up. You can't have BG out there doing podcast talking shit
No,
about your number one quarterback and your number one wide receiver. You do not need any types of distractions. I mean, you're already under a microscope in a fucking petri dish. People are looking at every part of who you are. Why magnify the bullshit or let the bullshit be present at all? Nip it in the bud. You should not have your your locker room conversation spilling out into the airwaves.
no,
Period.
no, not at all.
But talent wise, I think that they are well equipped to like earlier in the season, I would say
Stacked.
they are. They are. I would say 2 weeks ago, I was yeah, I don't know that the Eagles measure up in the same way Detroit does because Detroit doesn't have the only thing that Detroit has on the Eagles, they don't have that team stuff coming out into the media like that. They seem to be see the Eagles are a really close unit too. And there's probably drama in Detroit,
Yeah,
right? There probably is, but we
yeah,
don't hear about it. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but talent-wise,
yeah.
I think that both teams are pretty evenly matched right now. But I would have
Uh, uh,
said 2 weeks ago that I would have favored Detroit over the Eagles. I can't say that today.
so we'll get to the NFC in a minute, right? That's good. That's a good foreshadow. But let's finish up the AFC.
Go ahead. What you got?
Um, I was talking MVP. I mean, Josh Allen is the front runner right now. Buffalo, to me, is the best team in the AFC. I got them as my favorite right now. They, but they can't beat Kansas City in the playoffs. They haven't been able to do it. They've done it in the regular season. They can't do it in the playoffs. It's just one of those things. So you got them. And if I had to
And with
pick,
Kansas City's defense playing the way that they are,
yeah,
it looks even tougher.
yeah. And then if I had to pick between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, I'm going Pittsburgh, right? And that's solely because Baltimore is a 7-point favorite this weekend. 7 point. That's a lot of points when they are legitimately against Pittsburgh. Lamar is horrible, not only against the spread, but just straight up wins losses against Pittsburgh. They can't beat them, right? So can they do that? Can they get over the hump? We'll see. We'll see. But those are it's like I if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick Pittsburgh,
Hmm.
right? And I'm going to go coaching.
You think it's coaching or mental?
I think it might be a little bit of both, but I think that it's coaching. Baltimore's the number one penalized team in the fucking league. Like that's not good. And that's coaching, right? So my top three in the AFC: Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh.
Kansas
That's it.
City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So history tells me that I should probably align with you placing Kansas City over Buffalo, but I'm watching history unfold before my eyes with Josh Allen too, and I can't ignore what I'm seeing right now. Josh Allen is not normal. There's something he just different. He built different, he plays different, he sees the field different. He sees things unfolding. You ever watch Equalizer, the first one, Denzel Washington?
Yeah, yeah,
You ever see how he would like tell you, you got 15 seconds and this is exactly what's going to happen? And the director shows you how he's previewing it
yep,
in his mind.
yep,
That's the shit Josh Allen be doing out there
yeah,
on
yeah,
every play. And plays that breakdown. Listen, last year Josh Allen would have thrown 3 interceptions in the red zone and 4 touchdowns in that game. He's not doing that this year. He's corrected that.
yeah,
That part of his game he's improved on. Kansas City defense is just playing out. Kansas City defense has won 5 of Kansas City's games. Okay. Josh Allen, I don't know. I like Josh Allen in the Buffalo Bills more than I like Kansas City this year because he has improved his game, which was already a really high level of play that he's putting on the field.
yeah,
And Patrick Mahomes has taken a step back, whether it do because the defense is playing well, play calls are different, defenses knows what he's doing, whatever the reasons are. He's still Patrick Mahomes. He's
yeah,
not he hasn't stepped forward the same way that Josh Allen has. Defensively, that's the difference, right? Which team's defense is going to show up? Historically, defense wins games. And you're right. Josh Allen has showed us he can score 6 touchdowns and still lose with
yeah,
that Buffalo defense. But
yep,
I don't know. I just think that this is their year. I think that this is the year that they make it to the Super Bowl. Whether they win or not is another story. But I think they can definitely make it to the Super Bowl this
yeah,
year.
yeah. I got them as my Super Bowl pick for AFC. Buffalo. Not going to be shocked if Kansas City wins though, at all,
Can't be. How could you? How
at
could
all.
you?
And I think both Pittsburgh and Baltimore are good enough to do it. I just don't think they could beat either one of those teams.
Yeah, to start the season, I thought that who's going to stop Baltimore,
Yeah,
right? After week 4, I was like, oh my God. And now they're above average, but above, they're not above Buffalo. They're not above Kansas City.
no, not at all.
I would dare say they're not above, like you said, Pittsburgh. Shit, I could see Cincy beating them
Yeah,
if I'm keeping it 100.
yeah.
Talk about a
If
bad defense.
if you were to, if there's any team in the NFL that looks like you don't want to play them in the playoffs, who's playing in the AFC? Who's playing right now? Really, like you don't want to meet them in the playoffs.
I'd say Denver. You talk about
Yeah.
or Baltimore?
Well, anybody in the
AFC?
NFL.
Oh, in
We
the
know we know
NFL.
Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, right? But anybody else that might make the playoffs from right now, if we started today, it's Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Houston, Baltimore, Chargers, Broncos. That's who's in the playoffs right now.
Mhm.
Who don't you want to play?
Cincy. You don't want to play Cincinnati.
Well, they're not going to make the playoffs.
They're not going to make the playoffs, but they could. Shit, they're going to give you a run for your money. You're
I'm
talking
saying
about
in the
in the
playoffs.
playoffs?
In the
Oh,
playoffs.
in the
Who?
playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm who?
It doesn't matter who you are. Who don't in the AFC? Who don't you want to play? Right? Like I don't want to play. I think you said it. I don't want to play the Broncos because
Broncos are tough, man.
they amaze me. Right? They just amaze me that
And you know why? Because they're unfolding who they are in front of you. You don't know. And then you're seeing it and you're like, yo, these guys are fucking good.
yeah, yeah,
That's what's happening. Bo
yeah,
Nix is like big Nix energy for real. Like Bruce
yeah.
came on the show and he was telling us, yo, I like this kid, Bo Nix. I'm telling you, he's gonna be good. And you and I were like, yeah, okay. All right.
I didn't believe it. I'm that guy. You
You're
know,
supposed to say that, Bruce.
I don't believe in Pac-10 or Pac-12 quarterbacks. I just don't, right? But Bo Nix has squashed that for me this year, right? Like the
Hey,
dude can play ball.
shorter game winning drive last week, they would be sitting at 10-5 right now.
Yeah, yeah. And no one saw that coming. Nobody saw them winning 10 games. I don't care
No,
who you are.
no.
So I don't want to play the Broncos. I almost don't want to play the Chargers either.
Yeah. Harbaugh's got him playing. He
He's
got him
got them
balling.
playing football.
He sure
Let's
does.
let's go to NFC. Top
Okay.
three teams in the NFC.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and Minnesota.
Ooh.
Ooh,
You going Minnesota?
I am.
See,
I
that's real tough for me. I like Minnesota, right? That Minnesota's for real. To start the season, I was like, that's some fluky shit. But no, Minnesota's for real. It, you, that division, Green Bay is playing some good football, right?
yeah.
They don't
Green
have
Bay's
all
playing
the
good football.
they don't have all the weapons that Minnesota has, though.
No.
And then you got some sneaky good teams who could stir the pot a little bit too, right? Like I still think Seattle can get in your way. I don't think that they're certainly not what they were last year, which was just a playoff team, but they can put it together real quick. And then you got like Washington, who it's too hard to believe in them because Jade Daniels can't have these Michael Vick performances every week. I mean, the rest of the team just isn't good enough. But they're 9-5, right? But it's I don't think that there are enough teams on the NFC side that match the talent level on the AFC side, right?
Well,
However, if I give you my order of the one to three top three teams in the NFC, is probably going to be Philly, Detroit, and then Minnesota. And the reason I'm gonna put Philly ahead of Detroit is not because I think they're a better team. I think that Philly has shown that they can play at a high level regardless of what y'all saying. We don't give a fuck about your distractions. We going out there and we balling. And they still have found a way to find a high level of success, a high rate of success with the I don't even know what they call it. Was the tush push? What's the other name for it? The
it's the tush push. That's what it's the tush push. That's what it is, right? Like it and it's
it's
automatic.
it's almost unstoppable.
It's automatic. And I say automatic because they'll do it on 3rd and 1. And if you stop them, you need to stop us again because we're just gonna fucking run it back.
Right.
Right. And I haven't seen them get stopped twice ever. So, it's just they have the technique to pull that play off every single time. You know, not quite as efficient as when Kelsey was in there, but not that far of a drop off, right? And when you look at their offensive line, I was watching Landon Dickerson with his little pregame pump up speech to the team, and he was like, nothing matters other than we're going to go out today and we're going to be violent. That's his words. We're going to be violent. Like I'm 350 pounds, 6'4", whatever he is. And I'm telling the rest of my 300-pound plus dudes, we're going to go be violent. We are going to manhandle everyone. And they do, right? They just
Mhm.
do. And Detroit does the same thing. Where I throw Philadelphia the nod, and this is surprising, is the defense. The defense is playing with an attitude that says no one can beat us. If we are all doing our job, no one can beat us. Period. There's going to be a chunk play. There's going to be a big play. Mistakes are going to happen. It's football. But at the end of 60 minutes, no one can beat us if everyone does their job. And everyone's doing their fucking job, on
Mhm.
both sides of the ball. It's it's insane because I was not expecting that, right? But then when we talk about Minnesota, like they're 12-2 quietly, quietly. Like everybody's been Detroit's been the darling dandy of the league in the NFC all season, right? All season long. But they are hurt, and majority of that on the defense. They don't have a defense right now. They are giving away points like a sieve, and they just can't, so they might put 35 on the board, but they're going to give up 40. It's going to happen, you know.
Yeah.
Minnesota's not doing that at all. But you mentioned a couple other teams, man. Green Bay is playing really good fucking football.
They're so balanced too.
I don't think Seattle can overtake the Rams,
I
right? The
don't think they
Rams,
can either.
right?
And I
So,
forgot to mention the Rams.
and the Rams are one of those teams. I don't want to play Green Bay or the Rams in the playoffs, right? But who I really don't want to play is Tampa Bay.
Mm.
Tampa Bay is just playing. They're playing. They lost arguably the best wide receiver duo in the league for a good part of the season. Both of them out 5 games, and then now Evans is back, right? And Evans is incredible, dude. He's about to have another 1,000-yard season, and he missed 5 games.
Hmm.
Missed
Pretty
missed
good
5 games,
receiver.
and Baker is playing lights out. He's got 36 touchdowns.
Probably his best year as a passer.
So like I mean, there's a lot of dogs in the NFC, right?
Hmm.
I think the top three are clear, right? I think that's clear. I think the record speaks to that. But then you have Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and the Commanders. Uh, you know, do you want to play any one of those teams? I'll take my chances with the Commanders, right? Because they got a rookie quarterback, and I don't believe in them,
Yeah.
right? Like a lot of things happen. It's a different world in the playoffs.
I think Green Bay is probably the biggest threat, maybe Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay give you they have like a Jekyll and Hyde complex. Baker will look great one week and then he'll look like, bro, you can't throw that fucking ball.
yeah,
But overall, you expect him to go out there and ball, right?
yeah,
And Green Bay is just so well coached. The balance is there. I think they're listen, outside of the top three teams, the Eagles, Detroit, and Minnesota, Green Bay is the biggest threat coming out of the NFC.
yeah,
They're just a very good team. Seattle, like you got to give Seattle, you got to give them credit. They're 8-6, right?
yeah,
They're in a tough division this year. Uh, they- listen, they beat San Francisco, right? And San
yeah,
Francisco is a shadow of their former selves. But I think Seattle is going to always give you some freaking grit and effort, but they'll come out on the losing end as often as they will on the winning end. You can't believe in them, is what I'm saying.
yeah,
They're going to
yeah,
give you some exciting games. They're like I haven't seen them just get dragged. That just doesn't really happen with them.
yeah.
But
So can we stop giving San Francisco a pass? Right? Like we
a
obviously
pass
we
for
like to.
what?
I'll explain. We give the Dallas Cowboys a lot of flack because they haven't won a championship since '95. Right? When's the
Yeah,
last time San Fran won a championship?
shit.
'94. 94. The
Has
year
it been that
before.
long?
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mike. Here's what I'm gonna say to you about that. They probably dragging the shit out of them on the West Coast with that
Maybe.
number. Like
Maybe.
that's kitchen table talk over there. But out
Yeah.
here, we an NFC East team, so it's kitchen table talk for us to drag Dallas.
Yeah.
But you're right. They deserve to be dragged just as much as Dallas,
They sure
if
do.
not more.
If
If not
not
more.
more.
Hmm.
If not more. And then here's another interesting fact, too, when we talk about the playoffs, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I think since Jim Kelly lost his fourth Super Bowl, right?
Hmm.
Back in the 90s, early 90s, right? No quarterback that has gone to the Super Bowl for the first time and lost has ever returned to a Super Bowl.
I didn't know
No,
that.
no quarterback that has gone now. Now, granted, 98% of that list is terrible quarterbacks, right? But Cam Newton's on that list. Along with maybe a couple others. But you know who's on the list? Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts. Both those quarterbacks are on the list of going to the Super Bowl the first time and losing. And no quarterback that's done that has ever gone back to the Super Bowl. Interesting little nugget. I think that changes this year.
When you guys had, why can't I think of his name right now? Andy Reid was your coach. You guys were unstoppable. Uh, what was that quarterback's name? Black
Donovan
guy.
McNabb.
Donovan McNabb. That motherfucker went to the Super Bowl and threw up on the field. I was like, oh my, and listen, he didn't play terribly. He got it together, right? He played well, but I was like, nobody's stopping Philly. They're getting their trophy this year. You guys were that fucking good, bro,
Yeah.
and couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
I don't think as good as Donovan was playing that year, I don't think that that team had the same type of balance and schemes that your team is working with this year. It's a better team. So if Jalen goes, like I still don't know if Donovan would win one, is what I'm saying. But I think
So I
Jalen
don't think
could.
Donovan, and he's on that list of going to the Super Bowl for the first
Yeah, yeah,
time and
yeah.
losing, never
Right.
going back to another Super Bowl, right? Um, so the thing that irritates me the most about those Eagle teams is Donovan played with a top five defense every year and couldn't get it done. That's the most irritating point. You know, and then just to add salt to the wound, when they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, like, yeah, everybody focuses on Donovan. He threw up in the huddle and this, that, and the other thing. But he had a game winning drive in the fourth quarter, and then the defense couldn't get a stop. The defense couldn't get a
That's what I
stop.
said. He turned it around. He played better, but
So I
it
mean,
was just
they were
playing to
just
your. Mhm.
frustrating. That's why we're
Yeah.
the Eagle fans, though. That's why we do what we do.
Listen, the Eagles have been very consistent with winning over the past several years. And you got to get it done in the next two or three.
Yeah,
You got to.
yeah.
Because I think that the cap situation is going to get real difficult in 2 years for you guys.
Well, we talk about defense, right? Like the offense is locked in for the next three seasons, right?
Hmm.
Locked in, every position. The defense is all young dudes, right? You're going to have to pay Jalen Carter. He's going to have to get paid. End of story. I don't think Jordan Davis comes with as big a price tag, but he's going to need to get paid. Nakobe Dean is having a lights out season. he's going to get paid. Zach Bond is playing at an all pro level. He's going to need to get paid.
How
Quinyon
you gonna
Mitchell
pay
and
all of
Cooper
them? How you
DeJean,
gonna pay all of them?
right? Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are on rookie deals. So they're good for the next 3 seasons, right? Like all these dudes are pretty good for the next 3 seasons. But you're going to lose somebody. You're going to
Mhm.
lose somebody. And look, like if they don't, Howie is just the GM of all time.
Yeah.
If they don't
Well,
lose anybody,
he's going into the Hall of Fame for general managers now, okay? The job he's done. But I don't know. I got a question for you. We got to wrap up in the next 8 minutes too,
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately. But I got a question for you. So your favorite to go, let me ask this question before we go into our favorites. And maybe the picks for this week, because there's some real good matchups too. But if Sirianni, obviously you're going into the playoffs. Sirianni's going into the playoffs, and the divisional round, you don't make it to the championship game. What happens? They keep him? I think they keep him too. I think you got him. But if next year you don't go, do they keep him?
So here's what I see, right?
Or
You
is he going to
keep
get the
them and
Tomlin treatment?
hopefully the coaching staff stays intact, right?
Okay.
That's because we don't know if they're going to lose anybody over the offseason from a coaching staff perspective. I don't think they're going to, right? Like I think Kellen Moore is locked in for at least another year. You know, I really like to see a couple years with the same fucking coaching staff.
Yeah.
Um, so I think you have to keep them for next, regardless. Um, now if they slip up next season, any way, shape, or form, I mean, then it's back on the table. Like he's not free and clear by any stretch of the imagination, right? But barring a 6 game skid, he fucking wins a lot of games, man.
I think you keep him. I don't think, well, he hasn't given anybody any reason to believe that he would suffer a 6 game skid. Anybody.
No,
So I think you keep him. I think he's safe for at least the next 2 years.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I think, regardless of what happens in the playoffs. But I think that they're very capable of him hoisting Lombardi this year too.
yeah.
You got the team to do it. Fucking do it,
They got the
right?
team. They got the team. Barring some catastrophic injury, um, I don't know what you can do to stop their offense, right? I just don't. Like if you're gonna put 8 in the box, Jalen's gonna eat you up with dink and dunks, crossing the middle passes, right? He didn't throw any bombs in the last game, right? That was all, just hitting the right receiver in stride, you know, and he threw for 290 without
Mm-hmm.
throwing a deep ball, which is a weapon for the Eagles
Mm-hmm.
because you got two guys that will go up and get it. Not one, you got
Mm-hmm.
two.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Smith is fearless, bro. So, I mean, the
And I
Eagles
don't
have to
understand
be,
it. And he's so light in the ass. I don't know how he's that good. And he's like 102 pounds.
dude, he gets tossed.
I don't
Tossed.
understand it, man. I'm like, this guy is, and he is fearless. Like he gets
Fearless.
in there. He'll take a shot over the middle and get back up.
Fearless.
Great guy, too.
And
I don't
goes and
understand
gets
it
the
though.
ball.
Hey,
You
but
know,
listen, let's do a rapid fire real quick
let's
if
do
we
rapid
can.
fire because I know you got to go.
Kansas City,
Uh,
Houston, who you got?
Kansas City.
Me too. I think the
Kansas City.
defense is just too much. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. In Baltimore.
I got Pittsburgh.
Mm. Do you now?
Yeah.
I would like Pittsburgh to win for my wife and
Yeah.
her family, but I think Baltimore's going to take it.
I don't want Pittsburgh to win. because I
Mhm.
can't stand Steeler fans.
I know. I know. All right. Um, let's take a look at
New York,
Philly and
Atlanta.
Washington. No, we
Phil,
not. We not. We listen. Some games, Giants are playing for
Atlanta's
a
a
draft.
nine
They
point
playing for
favorite.
Cam.
Atlanta's
They
a nine
good.
point favorite with a rookie quarterback that hasn't played a second.
Yeah. Why would we even entertain that game? Doesn't even matter. I think Michael Penix is going to have a good day, though. Good for him.
Oh my
Giants have
God.
no starters. They put 5 players on IR in 1 week. They're tanking.
Uh,
Let's look at Philly and Washington.
I think this has Philadelphia written all over it.
I do too. I think Philly's going to have they're going to go out there and have a good time today. That's what I think.
Okay.
So Philadelphia. How much are they favored by in that game?
3.5. It's not a big
Really?
line. It's in Washington, and it's a divisional game. That's but this game has a potential to be just a slaughter, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And it also has the potential that Washington can beat them. So it's kind of crazy. It might be
Well,
98% could be a slaughter, 2% maybe Washington wins, but it's still there.
you know what? Here's what I'll say. I like the way the league has reshaped how they do the scheduling to make sure that you have your divisional games
Yeah.
centered in the beginning and the end of the seasons. It
Yeah.
makes for more exciting games. So,
Yeah.
and because it's a divisional game, it should be a good matchup. But I got Philly all day.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Seattle. I
In
think you,
Seattle,
yeah.
um, is Gino playing?
I don't know.
If Gino
Let's take a
plays,
look.
Seattle wins the game.
Really?
Yep.
Let's see. What's the injury report saying?
Minnesota can't be 12-2. They just can't be.
I
I
don't.
think there's a chance he
I think I
plays.
gotta take Minnesota in this one.
I feel
And I
you.
don't see anything on Gino not starting, but I think I'm gonna go with Minnesota.
All right.
All right, we're not even gonna touch New England and Buffalo. I don't know. Let's take a look at San Francisco, Miami.
I mean, two bad
That's a
teams.
toss up, isn't it?
I'm going to go Miami.
I am too, only because they're in Miami.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
That's the only
San
reason for me.
Francisco is dealing with San Francisco's dealing with all kind of shit. Purdy just bought all of his O linemen white Toyota Tundras for Christmas. They're feeling their trucks. They ain't trying to go out there and get hurt. They believe their season is over. They're okay with it. We'll come back next year. That's where I think their heads are at. I think Miami's still trying to fight, not because they think there's hope for their season, but because they are much better than their
Yeah.
record says they are.
Yeah.
I say Miami.
All right.
And that's really it.
Tampa Bay,
That's
Dallas.
really it. Oh, you want to call that one? I think Tampa is going to steamroll them, and I'm going to love it, man. I
I
think
do too.
Baker's going to throw 3.
It's in Dallas, number one. And, Dallas has had a little reprieve of the caliber of team they've played at home the last couple games. So they're not getting blown out, right? But I think Tampa Bay scorches the earth on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that Tampa Bay is going to go in there with the intention of making Jerry Jones turn as red as Tampa's
Yeah.
flag, and
Yeah.
they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, all right, brother.
All right, my man.
Glad we could do this show today.
Yeah. Have a good one. Enjoy. We'll sync up sometime next week.
Yeah, hey, Merry Christmas, man.
Merry
Because I
Christmas to
don't
you.
think we're gonna do another pod before then. So Merry
Probably
Christmas
not.
to all of you guys too.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to all of you guys in the Davis clan.
All right, brother.
All right, my
I
man.
will talk to you soon, okay?
Peace.
All right, peace.